Welcome back, everyone. Some Americans would give anything to hit the road again, and we mean anything. A recent survey by travel search site Trivago had some interesting results, to say the least. Nearly half of desperate vacationers said they would give up their job in exchange for a trip. A quarter said they'd fork over all their savings. 1 in 5 said they would dump their partner if it meant they could take a trip in the near future. And get this, almost 40% of people who responded say they would give up sex for a year. Meanwhile, Airbnb says you don't have to give up anything, including your job. While business travel has taken a huge hit during the pandemic, Airbnb wants to capitalize on the newfound work-life balance that emerged during the shift to remote work. The home rental company is seeing signs consumers are leveraging the work from anywhere model that companies are adopting to get out of their home and find a change of scenery. Airbnb says it's also seeing a trend of travel to smaller cities closer to home. The only real essential, a strong internet connection. A federal moratorium on eviction runs out at the end of the month. After that, people who owe back rent could be forced out of their homes. At the beginning of the year, an estimated 10 million renters were behind, owing a combined $57 billion in rent and utilities. Jerica Duncan shows us the toll on renters and building owners.
Ajilza Fernandez lives with a roommate in a second-story apartment within a house in Queens, New York, and describes life these days as hanging on by a thread.
How much do you owe in rent right now?
Close to $20,000.
Close to $20,000.
Yeah.
Fernandez couldn't take a job as a home health aide at the beginning of the pandemic because of asthma and other medical conditions. Fernandez currently works a part-time job from home, bringing in some $1,200 a month. The roommate lost her job at the beginning of the pandemic, making their $1,800 monthly rent payments impossible.
What happens if you're evicted? It's dead of winter right now.
I don't know. I really don't know.
As state and federal moratoriums are expected to expire in the next few months, an estimated 30 to 40 million Americans are at risk of being evicted. Black and Latino people make up approximately 80% of those facing eviction. But it's not just renters. Landlords say they're feeling the pressure too.
How many of your tenants are behind right now?
They're all behind in one way or another.
Liz Dunn owns 6 buildings in Seattle, Washington. It's made up of more than 20 small businesses and nearly 30 apartments.
My entire goal is to try and keep every one of my tenants in their space until we are all the way through this.
Dunn admits that's been difficult. She's accepting less in rent from tenants and has been directing them to grants and loans. For renters who don't have a landlord like Dunn, there may be some relief coming soon. The federal government's Emergency Rental Assistance Program went into effect in January. $25 billion is being made available to states to help assist qualified households with rent and utilities. But experts say it may not be enough.
I've never been in a situation like this.
Fernandez and her roommate were taken to housing court by the landlord. We reached out to the landlord for comment and did not hear back. Jerica Duncan, CBS News, New York.
Coming up, the CDC is imposing more travel restrictions, but not due to the coronavirus. We'll explain when Valley News Live at 4 continues.